come and move that in my direction.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Jaclyn Hill palette tutorial, as well as a first impressions and swatch video. So this video is going up after the launch. If you got your hands on the Jaclyn Hill palette, then this is going to be a video definitely for you to be able to recreate this look. If you did not get your hands on the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm pretty sure Morphe will be doing another restock. So I want to go ahead and give you guys what I thought about the palette. Also create a look for you guys to be able to do once you do get the palette. So as far as what I thought about the palette itself. So when you get the palette, it's like this really pretty white, and in the back it says Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. The front of it has Jaclyn Hill in like this silver metallic looking lettering, and that's basically what stands out, Jaclyn Hill and Morphe on the front of the palette. The fact that it's white looks really beautiful. It's very classy. I love the fact that that's what she was going for, just something very, you know, very to the eye. I know a lot of us girls, we are all about packaging, and white just looks very classy. So I do love that the palette is in white. I just wish that it wasn't like in this cardboard material, because it does not give it enough justice. I feel like it looks like just white cardboard. I feel like maybe if something else would have been added to it, it would have just looked a little bit more high-end, if you get what I'm saying. But as far as the palette itself, it looks really cute. Inside you get this paper here, and it gives you all of the shade names, which was another bit of a downfall for me, because I'm gonna have to carry, you know, the paper with me at all times, because the inside of the palette does not have any names, which I wish would have been incorporated into the palette. So when you first open up, it says on the front of the palette, this palette is dedicated to all of my lovely subscribers, XO Jaclyn. There is no mirror, which a lot of people were, you know, complaining about or saying that they should have added a mirror. I personally never use the mirror on my palettes. I always use like a small mirror or a larger mirror, so I really didn't care too much. I love that she added a little bit more of a personal thing inside of the palette, because if this is something, you know, so personal to her, when you open up the palette, she wants you to always see that message, which I totally loved. When you open up the palette, this is what the palette looks like. The shades are very diverse. There's a lot of neutrals, there's a lot of shimmers, there's dark tones, and then there's bright tones. So I love the fact that she incorporated all of that in one palette, because I think her goal was definitely to have this palette for everything. So you not to have to carry, like me, I carry about 6 palettes every time I travel. I have like my neutral palette, my brown palette, my orange palette, my color palette. So I love the fact that she did do this to give you a little bit of diversity on the color choices. And on top of that, she gave you a lot of shimmers, and then she also gives you a lot of mattes. And based off what I see of the palette, all of the neutrals can be used for something simple, but then you have your darker tones here to just brighten everything up. And then if you want to do a little bit more of a dramatic look, you can add, you know, the bronzy or the pink tones onto your lid, which I completely fell in love with. So the palette itself, everything, the packaging looks good. Absolutely love it. I obviously already did a look for you guys using the shadows, and I will go into detail with that towards the end of the video. But now to swatching the actual colors. All of the colors, I'm going to be swatching them on my arm, and I'm not going to be using any type of setting spray, brush, or anything. I'm just going to use my finger and just show you guys all of the shades. So in the first row, we have the color in light. Second color is beam. Third color is silk cream. Fourth color is MFEO. Next color is faint. Next color is sissy. Last color is little lady. So these are all of the colors in the first row. So the next row is cream side. Then we have Butter. Next is Pooter. Next is Pukey. Next is Hunts. Now we have Firework. And lastly, we have Queen. So all of these shades are beautiful, very pigmented. If you guys can see that color Queen, it's beyond gorgeous. So on the third row, we have Obsessed, SBN, Hillster, Roxanne, Jax, Buns, and Cran Apple. My swatches are like sucking right now, but the colors are crazy pigmented. They're honestly really pretty. Royalty, Twerk, Hustle, Mix, 24/7, Chip, and Mocha. So the last two shades were a little sheer for me. I expected them to be a little bit brighter, but that is the fourth row. So for the fourth row, we have Pool Party, Jada, Diva, Enchanted, Central Park, Soda Pop, and Abyss. After swatching those colors on my hand, so some of the colors were very pigmented, crazy pigmented, where I was like, oh my god, this color is beautiful. But then we also had those shades that just weren't. I didn't want to sit there and like really rub every single color and make it look really pigmented for you guys, because that would defeat the purpose. I literally just grabbed color and swatched it for you guys as it would come out for all of the other colors. You get what I'm saying? So if I didn't try that hard on one color and it was crazy pigmented, but then I do it on the next one and it's not, then obviously it's because that color is not as pigmented as the other one. So I definitely think they nailed it with the shimmer tones. The shimmer tones all look amazing. They're all really pigmented, but it seems as if I got towards the end, like on the darker colors, like the colors Mocha and Chip, Soda Pop, Central Park, they weren't as pigmented as I thought they were going to be. So that was just kind of the downfall. I already swatched those for you guys, and I did do my tutorial. So now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like on the eyes, on the face, using these colors. And if you guys are interested in the tutorial, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I already started one of my eyes, and I'm going to go ahead and start on the other one. I'm going to take out my little chart just because on the palette itself, there's no name. So I'm going to try to find the names of the shadows. So to start, in the palette, we have these two shades here. And those are the two lightest shades that normally I would use for the brow bone. But after I applied both of them, they were just way too glitter, bright, very pigmented. not normally what I would want to use for under my brow bone. I was looking for something a little bit more on the matte side, something more settled, just because I don't like shimmers under my brow bones. So I went ahead and just grabbed my Baked Browns palette just to apply a matte shade under my brow bone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to just start my shadow. I'm going to go in with the shade right here, and this shade is MFEO. And using my Morphe Y17 brush, I'm going to apply this on my crease. And I'm just going to do windshield wiper motions. And this is going to work as my transition shade. So the next shade that I'm going to be grabbing is this shade here, and it is the color Pooter. And I'm going to use the same brush just because I'm working my way up with shades, so I don't have to switch the brush since I am going a little bit darker anyways. I like to stick with the same brushes when I'm doing my shadows because I don't know if you guys have just that specific brush that you guys can use all the time. Well, these are the brushes that I literally can't replace. They're just so great at blending. And the next shade that I'm going to be going with is this color here. It's a little bit of a more burgundy tone, and it is the color Jax. My Y17 brush, just going to pack in that color and blend. Y16 brush, I'm just kind of going to go in there. I'm going to go in there and just blend all the shadows out. But I'm going to go in there with this shade here, and this is the color Mocha. It's a mix between like a brown, but it also has some burgundy tones in there. I'm just packing on that color and blending. I'm applying all of these shades the same way, just bringing them down as I'm applying a newer shade, because we still want that first shade that we applied to peek through. Color Enchanted, and I think it's called Enchanted. My paisita's coming out of me. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. But that's the color we're going in with. And we're going to dab the product in and blend. I'm not too worried about it looking, you know, green or anything, because when we go in there and cut it for a half cut crease, I'm going to go in there with like a small precision brush and just bring out the color through the top, and that's where you're going to be able to see where the green is peeking through from. And with my Morphe M705 brush and some foundation. So I'm going to use the Born This Way foundation in Natural Beige, and I'm just going to apply some of it on my brush and create my half cut crease. So I normally start from the inside of my inner tear duct and just kind of glide it through. Don't be scared, because I feel like most of the time if you try to go really, really slow, that's when you mess up. Just kind of grab the brush and just glide it through. And then once we're towards the end, I'm just going to feather that concealer in, but not too much, because I'm going to go back in there with a blending brush to just kind of get rid of that line, so it gets an even transition between the lighter shades and the green that we just added. And I'm going very lightly on my eye because I don't want it to leave like a wet residue right in the middle, because then you're going to be able to see that, you know, there was concealer applied there. So we're just kind of working our way in there lightly, back and forth. I'm going to use the Luxie Lush flat brush here, and I'm going to wet it with my Cover FX. And this is something that I do with all of my shades. I always, whether it would be an Anastasia Beverly Hills, a MAC shadow, anything that has any type of shimmer to it, I'm going to add Fix Plus or any type of setting spray on my brush, because I want it to look really wet For this specific shadow, I'm pretty sure if I was to apply this with my finger and just dab the color in there just like this, I would get the exact same look. But because I don't really want to get messy with my fingers or anything like that, I'm going to go in there by wetting my brush. But the pigmentation of these shadows are very wet looking, but I just want to make it look that much more pigmented on my eyelid. So I'm not going to go too to the corner because I don't know if you guys have ever had that problem where you kind of apply glitter and then a matte shade and then you get this like gray looking eyeshadow at the end of that. So try not to mix it. I'm not going to grab any of this color. I'm just going to dab more of that green shade and just work my way in, but from matte to the shimmer. I'm not going to bring any of that shimmer towards the shadow. I'm going to do the opposite and work my way from the outside of my eye to the inside. And I'm lightly feathering that in as well. On the crease, I'm going to go in there with my Morphe M508 brush. And I'm going to grab some of that green and just lightly apply it on the tip of the brush. And I'm going to go over the crease. I'm going to go over the line of my crease. So I'm just going to lightly go on there and outline it. And this is going to make that green pop out. Once we've outlined the crease, I grab just a tiny bit more and I'm going to feather it up. And this is just going to add more of a blended look because we don't want it to look like we just added a green line over it. We want it to look blended. I'm going to do my eyeliner off of camera and I will be right back. My eyeliner, while that dries, I'm going to get my lashes ready. I'm using the lashes by Makeup Shack in the name Paris. And these have been my favorite at the moment. Guys, I'm going to go in there with my Dual Lash Glue. And I'm going to apply it on my lashes. And just let that sit for about 15 seconds to just get tacky. Now I'm just going to go in there with some mascara to make sure my bottom lashes don't pop out of my falsies. So I already primed my face with some Cetaphil and I'm just going to add some hydrating facial mist all over my skin. Just because I want to make sure my face looks nice and hydrated. And this one is the mist from Gerard Cosmetics, and I'm trying to figure out what, oh, Mystified is the actual bottle name. My Born This Way foundation in Natural Beige, I'm just gonna pump it, and using my Real Techniques sponge, I'm going to apply my foundation. Next, for concealer, I'm going to go in there with my NARS concealer in Custard. And I'm going to apply 2 triangles right under my under eyes. And I'm also going to highlight my nose and my forehead. Also my Cupid's bow. I'm gonna go in with my, I'm like not even trying to laugh, I'm like, because I don't want my face to crease. But I'm gonna go in there with my Laura Mercier translucent powder, the back of my Real Techniques sponge. I'm going to dab the product and set it where I applied my concealer. I'm also going to apply some on my smile lines. Grabbing my E1 brush by Morphe and my Studio Fix in NC30 by MAC, I'm going to set the rest of my face. We don't want any harsh lines dividing your neck from your face. Now for bronzing, I'm going to use my Luxie Lush brush in the 504 angled brush with my Benefit Hoola Bronzer, and I'm going to contour my face. I've always used powder contour when contouring my face just because I don't want to give my face a very muddy effect. The times that I've used the cream contouring, I always found myself just looking really muddy, and by the end of the day my face was just all very oily. So that's why I try to add as much powder to my face as I possibly can to avoid getting that oiliness. Using the same bronzer, I'm going to go in there with my E46 brush and I'm going to contour my nose. So the way that I'm going to contour my nose is by applying just 2 lines straight down my nose, connecting it, and then cleaning up the edges. This is going to give my nose the illusion that my nose is just a lot slimmer towards the top and just more snatched. Very cute, and just giving it a really cute long nose. My nose is not big, but whenever I contour, you can tell that my nose just looks really cute and small. So once I apply those 2 lines, I do go in there and kind of blend it just so it's not harsh. And then grabbing more of my Laura Mercier translucent powder, I go in there and clean it up. And I will let that set for a few minutes. Use the shadows that I could not use under my brow bone. I might be able to use it as a highlight because they were so pigmented and so bright. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my Morphe E511 brush, add some setting spray, and the color that I'm going to go in there with is going to be in Light, which is this first one here. And I'm going to just grab some of that color and add it as a highlight. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so that's a little too bright, too white for me, so let me go in with Beam. Okay, so that does look really pretty, but because my skin tone is a little bit more on the tan side, it looks really white on my skin. So if you were a little bit more fair, more güerita, lighter complexion, it will look beautiful on you as a highlight. But myself, I need to go in there with more of a gold. So I am going to add Rodeo Drive by Ofra on top, just because it is a little too white for my skin, and I don't want it to look like I'm a walking freaking highlighter. We don't want to do that either. I'm just going to have to blend. And I'm going to apply just a little bit of blush on the apples of my cheeks. I'm going to go in there with my Morphe Y9 brush and just blend out my nose and remove any of the remaining powder that we had. Now to finish off my look, I'm going to grab the Mikasa E200 brush, and it's just an angled brush. And I'm going to go in there with the first shade that we used, which is MFEO, and I'm going to apply that right under my waterline. really pretty. And then next I'm going to go in with the same color, Jax. My bad. And we're just buffing that color right under. And going back in with the color Beam, I'm going to apply some right in my inner tear duct. And I'm using my Luxie brush to apply that into my inner tear duct. Look how pigmented that looks. Now going in with my Makeup Forever mascara. Applying that right under my waterline. Rodeo Drive onto my nose. And my Cupid's bow. For my lips, I'm gonna do Exposed by Kylie, my go-to nude lippy. And next I'm just going to finish off with some Cover FX setting spray. And this is the illuminating setting spray. And this is the finished look. So after I've already created this look, I love the shadows. I feel like my look looks great. It looks really pretty. I didn't have to try too hard, you know, to make the colors look good. You know, I'm happy with the palette. It looks really nice. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we do have, you know, those shades that are just not as pigmented as I thought they were going to be. Now, am I happy with the palette? Would I purchase the palette? I would purchase this palette if I were you, just because not only, you know, I'm a fan of Jaclyn Hill's work and she's amazing, but aside from that, I honestly do think that Morphe did put in, you know, work to create this palette, and a lot of time and dedication has been made into this palette. Do I think it's worth the amount of money? I think you should definitely give this palette a chance for sure. There's always ways to make colors work regardless of the fact. Like I've mentioned before, whether it be a MAC color, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Makeup Forever, Smashbox, anything that you might think of high end, you still have to, you know, do certain things. Wear primers, wear it with, you know, Fix Plus. Do I think it's worth it? I absolutely do. I think it's an amazing palette. I think you guys will love it. I love the diversity of it. I love the fact that I could just take this one palette and I should be good to create a few looks with it. And yeah, my first impression was definitely great. Did I feel a little bit disappointed of certain things? Of course, but no palette is perfect. Like I've mentioned before, it's totally to your preference. I think you should definitely, you know, give it a chance and try it for yourself. You guys can sit here and watch 100 million reviews of what you think, what we think, but something that might work for someone might not work for somebody else, and something that might not work for someone else might work for someone. So only you will truly know if this is something you want to see. But hopefully after me watching the video and doing this tutorial, you can kind of get an idea of what it is. But like I've mentioned, would I get this palette myself? Yes, I would. Do I love it? Of course. Do I recommend it? I do. I actually think that it's a great palette, and I think that she did an amazing job. Like I've mentioned before, I love Morphe. Morphe is everything, and I'm not just saying that because I love the brand itself, but I really do. You can't complain when a brand is giving you quality products for such a cheap price. So yeah, I love this palette. It's good. Love Morphe. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys like these types of videos, let me know. I'm also going to have another video up for you guys, another tutorial within the next couple of days. I was slacking off for a while because I got super busy with my launch of my hats. If you guys don't know, I came out with some hats. I will be doing a video separately letting you guys know about that, and I also will be having some stuff up on my vlog channel. So if you're not following me on my vlog channel, definitely do that. I will link it below. Also, just follow me on my Snapchat, my Instagram, my Twitter to just kind of be up to date with what I've been up to, because I have been crazy busy, but I have a few videos coming up for you guys, as well as some vlogs to just get back into the YouTube stuff. Fell off track for a little bit, but I hope you guys all enjoyed this tutorial, enjoyed this first impression swatches, whatever you want to call it. But hope you guys all enjoyed it, and thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button if you liked this video, and I love you guys. Till next time.